What's up, WOLFPACK Nation? Thank you so much for tuning back in for part 2 here of our NC State football 2022 season preview here. Again, we got all 5 of us here with Tuffy Talk here, breaking down the second 4 games. If you haven't checked out the first part yet, where we break down UConn, Texas Tech, ECU, and Charleston Southern, make sure to do that first. Again, that's a must do. And make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, which is free to do, and that way you're notified whenever we release any new NC State content, including live streams as well. Check out our channel memberships for as little as $1.99 a month to get access to all kinds of exclusive Tuffy Talk content, and also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk now on Twitter or Instagram. But with that being said, again, so now we're getting into some of the fun games for sure, or the interesting games for sure. Obviously, starting off Clemson here, which I think all of us can easily agree that this season will go one of 2 different directions depending on how this game goes, and it's huge. I think literally Doran's career. Not to say that it lies on the Clemson game, because even if he loses that game, I don't think that there will be some fans for sure that'll make assumptions based off of that loss, but. Let's put it this way: if Doran can win at Clemson, that takes his career to another notch. That we haven't seen yet for sure. The fact that Clemson has only lost us like single-digit games probably in the last 8 to 9 years, something like that. At home, and probably even 10 years.
30 to 30 something, 34, 35 game
win streak.
Home game win streak.
Yeah, and I'm sure probably the last time he lost was probably the Pitt game in 2016, if I had to guess, probably. Yeah, so
the same season we should have beat them with a kick.
Wow.
Right.
Macon, golly. Anyway, so so yes, the key this year is kicking. No. So fun stat. So we're actually 29-59 against them all time. And the last 10 matchups were 2-8. So definitely looking forward to hopefully making it 3-8 this year. I think that I truly do believe that we win this game. I think that it's obviously interesting that that we obviously have lost, or that Greg leaving threw me off.
We lost Greg.
Yeah, but we can keep going in the meantime. But yeah, I think that it's obviously interesting, because I think that obviously the line being at 10, I think that says something, but I know that a lot of that too is because of national perception that, exactly like last year as well, that I think everybody knew going into the Clemson State game last year that Clemson probably didn't deserve to be 10-point favorites, and they ended up not being deserving of 10-point favorites because we beat them. So that's why I'm not too worried about it. But again, this is going to be definitely a defensive juggernaut. Obviously with Breesy on the defense side, Trent Simpson, it's going to be a juggernaut for sure. But just between, I don't think that DJ Uyunglele is going to have a great wide receiver weapon like he did last year in Justin Ross. Shipley is going to be great for sure, but I still believe that I think at the end of the day, our offense is what's going to win the game for us. I think that it's going to be some sweet, like a last minute drive or something like that to get the final touchdown or whatever. Maybe I think it's going to be a fun one.
And that's interesting you say that the offense will win the game, because I feel like this team is known for their defense, which is interesting you say that.
Yeah. No, again, I think it's going to be like one of those like 14-14 games where you have to go down the field to win the game, something like that. It's so that's kind of where my head's at with it. But Macon, go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like this is where our predictions are going to start to diverge here. Yeah. But not for me. I think this is a year State will get the win, and I think it's for a few different reasons. I don't say that like arrogantly. I say that just like I actually do believe this is the year we're going to get this win. And it's because you go from top down in the program. They've lost their AD. Their OC is going to be new. Their DC will be new. Now, that's not to say there's not great coaches that are there now. or they're replacing. That's not what I'm saying. I think they will be good, but do I think it's going to be the same as having Brent Venables or Tony Elliott? Not particularly Brent Venables, no necessarily, but they do have an amazing defensive line that should help alleviate some of those. I think DJ Uiagalelei, you haven't heard anything crazy like massive improvement coming out of camp. I think the interview with Will Shipley they had said his dedication's never been a question with DJ, but it's been more that he's improved in his, I think his confidence was the word he used. And I don't know if that excites me as a Clemson fan or, that doesn't really say like, oh, well, is he improving here and there? And here's the thing with Clemson. They were not great last year, or at least not where they were in previous years, and they still won 10 games. So I think if they just have average to above average QB play, they'll be a very good record team. Do I think they're a top 4 team or a top 5 team in the country? No, I do not. No. Do I think that this FPI list has Clemson beating like an 87% chance to beat us? Like that's really high to me. I think this year. So I think State's going to win this game. I think the defense may close out the game for them. I think it'll be like a 6-7 point game, maybe 8 or 9 in there. I think that's what the score's going to be. I don't think it'll be a double digits. If it does, either way, I'll be very surprised. My concern is going to be this will be the first game I really believe we're going to have our offensive line tested, particularly at left tackle. Sure. I am worried about that to a degree, just because I know how great their defensive line is. But our guys are going up against Corey Durden and CJ Clark and our linebackers every day at camp, so they're going to have a good test, already during practice. But I do think we get the win. I do. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. I would say this too. I think this could be the game where you see Devin Leary have his moment.
His Heisman moment.
The Clemson game last year. I think you're going to have like some moments here for Devin Leary. If he stays healthy through the game, which again, talking with the offensive line, that's a concern I have. But I do think this is the game we win at Clemson.
I like it. All right. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the one I've been going back and forth. It's like, do you go with your heart or your head, right? I think, I tend to agree with Macon here. I think this is the year we finally break through after 20 plus years of not winning at Death Valley. This is a game where, DJ may not even be the quarterback. This could be,
Klubnik.
Cade Klubnik's, Klubnik, excuse me, thank you. This could be his team by the 4th game. Now, the one thing I will say, unfortunately, and we'll talk about it more when we get to Wake Forest, they get Wake Forest the week before, and with the whole Sam Hartman news, that changes things a little bit potentially for them coming into this game. But I agree with Macon. The offensive line, this is going to be the make or break game for that unit. Can we run the ball enough to give, to keep them honest? Can we give Leary enough time to throw the ball? Yeah. I hope so. But I think this is the year of redemption for the kick. I think we win this on a field goal at the horn. So there we go. I think this is where Chris gets his redemption.
Again, and because I know we're sounding like homers right now, but just really it just comes down to that at the end of the day, I think that we both have elite defenses. And then offensively, we are much more established than what Clemson's offense is going to be. And you could definitely argue more talented than Clemson's offense. You can make that argument for sure. Offensive line-wise, I feel like we got the edge. And then, wide receivers-wise, I feel like you got the edge. Running back, they have the edge for sure. And quarterback, we definitely have the edge. So, and again, we could definitely argue that because one other thing too is that we're not even talking about that Clemson got a transfer from Northwestern in Hunter Johnson, who was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school.
They recruited him.
Yeah, and they recruited him. So again, it's going to be a fiasco in the quarterback room for Clemson. So I think that the two ways that we might lose is either injuries or B, that they do like a quarterback switch. and then the other quarterback that we didn't prepare for just comes in and just rocks it, like, and we're not able to adjust. But I just don't see it. I think the guys are going to be too focused and know what's at stake with this game. Like the AC championship game is going to come down to this. If we get through this game, it's not necessarily smooth sledding, but it's definitely not a tough road the rest of the way to get there.
I want to add this one factor. There's a couple factors here too that I'm thinking about. I'm not trying to steal anybody else's thunder here, but
it's a big game.
I do think another factor to consider is who does each team play before going into this game, and we have not mentioned Sam Hartman's, news about he's not playing for Wake Forest for an indefinite period of time. I still think though Clemson playing Wake Forest is going to be a tougher test that might wear them down, and then State playing UConn the week before. I think State will be able to rest a little bit. I think both teams realize what it's going to be. I think another thing too is, I'm really sure their secondary is really that great at Clemson this year. I don't know that it is. I know that they had Landon Zanders, I think is the guy's name, who is their starting safety, who just announced he's done playing football for medical reasons. So that's one starting defensive back that's not going to be playing. I'm not saying that, again, they've got 5 stars everywhere, but I think there's multiple layers here for why I was saying where our reasoning is. But maybe Michael and Mackenzie feel differently.
Maybe. Michael, go ahead.
No, I don't. And I don't even think we're all fans. I mean, just look at what we're wearing in our background. So I don't care if it comes off as being homers, because I think it's a very real possibility for what you guys have already said. I mean, it's not going to be easy, of course, but they're breaking in new coordinators. Quarterback play hasn't been great. I do think we'll still see DJ. I don't think their schedule is tough enough that they would warrant a change before us.
Correct.
I wouldn't be surprised if, our defense really bothers DJ in the first half, and maybe we see Cade for the first time in our game.
Right.
But I don't think he'll come in. Cade will come in as the starter. But yeah, I mean, everybody talks about their defense. Their defensive line is better than ours, but I mean, defense as a whole on the other 2 units, but linebackers and secondary, I mean, we've got just as good as athletes as they do.
If not better.
I don't know. Yeah, if not better. So I don't know. I mean,
well, because
you guys saying, I feel like it's a win. It's not going to be easy, but I feel like we'll pull it out.
Yeah. And so no shocker what Kenzie's going to say, but go ahead, Kenzie. Let the rest of the people know.
Everybody knows my answer, but I even have notes because I've gotten in so many arguments about this game with people. So I'm about to read them all out. The home streak ends, period. Exclamation point, end of discussion. The home streak's ending. We're going to beat them. Because I feel like our team is going to be thinking of, okay, if we win this game with the Sam Hartman, we don't know how long he's going to be out. This could be smooth sailing to the ACC championship game. And I feel like that's what they're going to be thinking about going in. Yes, their defensive line is better, but it's arguably our defense, like our linebackers are obviously better. And our offense, I would argue, is better. Like you said, Leighton. The crowd, I think the crowd is going to be the factor that's going to be the hardest for us, in my opinion.
Yes.
Death Valley is an extremely hard place to play. But I think because of the hype that State is getting, State fans obviously already travel well. So we're going to travel even better. And this is the game where health is really going to come into play. Like if our linebackers and everybody comes in healthy, I think we have a very good chance to win this game. I don't want to say easily, but easily. But
I like it.
If we don't have help, then I feel like it's going to be harder. But like Greg said, I think we went off a field goal. So we can put 2016 behind us, never think about it again, and we can start putting that meme out there that we beat them off of a field goal.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's like a glow up, like the glow up challenge, right? Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
I just think about that missed field goal, that Bombard missed field goal. That Clemson team was way better than the Clemson team now, and our state team
was way worse.
Nowhere near as
Yeah.
good as nowhere near as good, and they took them to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, so I don't see why we can't do that again when it's kind of reversed.
Yeah.
Let me on this one point. I think it'd probably be fair to move on from Clemson here at this, but I do think to add what you're saying, Mackenzie, I think this team could view this not just as a game for what it means for the season, but I think they could view this as like a legacy game. Let's go get this win
Yes.
at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think if this team, I truly believe last year they wanted to leave a legacy with 10 wins, and to them, if you ask them, they got the 10th win because the UCLA forfeited, they got the trophy. But
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like a not bitterness, but it's like a hunger to like we're doing this. We want to do it last year. We're doing it this year, and my concern just coming out of the game is how you stay healthy because that defensive line is no joke. Their linebacker Trenton Simpson is good. And I just think it's interesting that we all picked them to win. I mean, I just think that's come across. We were joking beforehand, like, yep, and we're all going to come across as homers.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's like I don't feel like there's a lot of reasons we all have to think this is a good year.
There's plenty of valid reasons.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, we'll see. But obviously, we still have 3 more games to go, and so we're definitely going to have to kind of go through them a little bit here quicker. But obviously, with Clemson, it's very understandable because obviously that is by far, hands and tails, the biggest game on the calendar, especially now with the news of Sam Hartman. Obviously, not saying that Wake Forest is going to be an easy game or whatever it is, but just no matter what, even whenever Sam does come back, even if it's before they play us, it's still going to be not the same Wake Forest that it would have been if Sam had the whole camp and played all games heading into us. So that's the point there. But so next game, FSU at home again. So last 10 matchups were actually 5-5. So 500 against them. All time 15-17, and at home we're 9-11. So definitely hoping to get that here to 10-11 here. So I think Macon, you're back up.
Yeah, so this game kind of worries me, to be honest with you. I know the Clemson game worries me too, but let's say what we all think comes true. We beat Clemson. You roll into the game next week at home, 5-0. Like, this is the year, and Florida State comes in with a very athletic and mobile Jordan Travis, and they are a very talented team too. They don't. Do they have a lot to lose? I don't know. I say that to say this too. I do think State still gets this win against Florida State, but I think it's going to be a game that makes State fans way more nervous than it should. Way more nervous than it should. I think you're going to see Florida State take a lead at some point. I think it's going to be a game to me that the defense wins. I think Devin Leary could throw 4 or 5 touchdowns this game, and you could win by offense. But I do believe this is a game that's going to be won. I believe it's going to be a feature game for our linebackers, just like the Clemson game may be. Because Jordan Travis, we didn't play a Jordan Travis FSU team last year. We played their backup. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was
Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah.
Milton.
So, heck, there's a I texted Leighton or y'all this. I think at one point there's a YouTube simulation of this game on YouTube, and it's got Florida State winning 40-30. So you would think they have a Clemson simulation game, having Clemson win by like I think 3 points, something like that. But I think this is a game State could slip up on. I would not be surprised if you guys picked us to lose this game. I do think we're going to win this one, but I think this is going to be a game where second quarter, third quarter, we're like, whoa, this is going to be. I think it's going to be an uneasy Carter Finley, in my opinion.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yep. Greg?
So I'm going to be the first one. Yep, I think this is the one we lose. And
Bruh.
the reason, bro, if you go back to last year after the Clemson game, we narrowly beat a not very good Louisiana Tech team. We beat them 34-27. So, you know, the like you said, making the indications are there. The indicators are there that this could be an emotional letdown either after a win or a very tough loss. And that's the thing when you know, after you play Clemson, you don't want to lose twice, right? You don't want to lose to Clemson twice, i.e. losing to Clemson.
And the Clemson effect is real.
1,000% it's real. Yep. So, obviously I want State to win, but if we're gonna stub our toe, this is probably where we're gonna stub our toe if we get through all the wins. It's either this or Louisville, and we'll talk about that obviously when we get there. So, I mean, like you said, we didn't face Travis last year. He's apparently gotten more accurate from things that I've been reading. This is a year where the head coach could be in a little trouble. I think maybe it's not hot, but it's definitely warm. Yeah. It's definitely really warm. So
gotta be.
So every game's going to be must win for them and the coach. So anyway,
fair enough. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I also have this one as a loss for a lot of what Macon and Greg said right after Clemson. Jordan Travis. I mean, Florida State I think was 5-2 with Jordan Travis last year.
They're good.
All the games they won, he was their QB, and we didn't face him.
Yep.
And it's not like we dominated Florida State last year either. It was a tough game. I think Florida State will be I think Florida State will be pretty good this year. I have them winning 8 games this year. I just think win or loss versus Clemson, this one's going to be tough.
Yeah, I agree. Kenzie?
I think it's a win. But
shocker.
I also right, shocker. But I think it's going to be a very difficult game. But the thing because I was going back and forth with this because my dad's a big Florida State fan, or was until I transformed him. But going back and forth, and then I remembered that Cyrus and Corey. I feel like Cyrus didn't get to really play. I feel like they're going to go off against. They want to win, obviously. They want to beat the team they transferred from. They want to show be the best out of it. So I think that's the reason that I have us winning. Honestly, I think they're going to push the team to be like, look, we have to beat these guys. Get your heads in it.
Yeah. So, and then I'll add one more thing, but I'll kind of keep mine short so we can move on. But the one other point which I'll make as well in terms of why I think that it'll be tough, but why I think we win is because we're preseason ranked number 13 right now on the coach poll. More likely the AP poll will probably be right there, right past top 15, probably 13, 14, 15, something like that. If we go 4-0 and beat Clemson at Clemson, we're top 10 more than likely. Definitely more likely. If not even maybe top 8 even, potentially. Again, depending on what happens, that's just so. Yeah. So playing Florida State at home after beating Clemson and being a top 10 team in the country, Carter Finley is going to be freaking monkeys, uncles. It is going to be people jumping left and right. Students will be piling in. It is going to be a tough environment. So that's.
There'll be no jumping.
There'll be no jumping over walls. No. So that'd be the extra reason why I think we pull it out. I think that the environment is going to be crazy. So I'm definitely expecting to win. But
here's my only thing I'll add.
Yeah.
Is the Florida State game this year the Miami game last year? That's my kind of thing where it's
does Florida
it's a similar thing where you walk into it and you think this is a solid team, we're going to get this win, and we just somehow
stub our toe.
We stub our toe. We don't perform well. We got too many penalties or whatever.
Yeah.
Miami was supposed to be good last year though with Derek King, and then he got hurt, and so then they lost a couple early games, but it ended up being that Tyler Van Dyke was better than Derek King. So that I don't know if that's exactly a one-to-one.
Probably not a good comparison.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But also to that, I mean, it could be a job depending on what Florida State does up to that game. That Mike Norvell is maybe coaching for his job that game too. So another potential.
I would say, one thing I add, I think this is a game for your defensive ends and linebackers. Again, mobile quarterback,
yes,
just like Clemson was, but stealing the edges, contain the quarterback, make him a thrower, not a runner, that kind of
Well, no, I mean, again, we've had a lot of experience in mobile quarterbacks over the last couple of years, obviously with Liberty, with Malik Willis, and then, facing Malik Cunningham, facing a Louisiana quarterback who is mobile too. So we have a lot of experience in mobile quarterbacks, so hopefully that should play in our favor. True. All right. So so as of right now, we got just Greg right now, finally, with our first loss, correct? Anybody else?
Nope. Michael
too. Michael too with also a loss. Okay,
Michael,
cool. All right. So now moving on to Syracuse.
We're losing. Great.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Keep going. No. Darn it.
Man, a loss.
Let the record show, though, I'm not rooting
not.
Against us. Okay.
Yes.
Before we get all
not.
the hate mail.
So next is at Syracuse, so this one is actually kind of interesting to me because honestly, I was kind of like, yeah, we're going to beat Syracuse until I looked at their transfers. They actually have some pretty good transfers coming in too, which says, kind of like, oh, okay, good for them. So I think Greg, we're starting off with you. So go ahead.
Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. If you do that this is going to be a W. I know we struggled against him last year. I think this is like one of like two runners that we struggled against last year. Oddly, it was against Carolina. Was the other running that we had problems with. But if we stop the run, we win the game. Syracuse is picked towards the bottom of the conference for a reason. Dino Babers is definitely on the hot seat. This could be his last year there.
Should be.
So they'll be clawing for everything they can get. Yeah. He should have escaped a couple of years ago when his stock was high. But we usually, I think it's up in Syracuse if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So we've done pretty good there. Overall, we have a really good solid record against them since coming into the ACC. I think we've only lost.
We're 6-1 against them on the road. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like our chances. We'll just take it there. Stop the run.
Yeah, I'm with Greg there. You shut down Sean Tucker. I mean, Garrett Schrader's not going to beat you with his arm.
No.
Syracuse does have a decent defense. I think they've got two all ACC defensive backs, and then the linebacker.
Way underrated.
Yeah, like outside of Clemson, State, and Pitt, Syracuse might have the fourth best defense in the ACC. So, I mean, that could present some challenges, but I don't think they'll have enough on offense to make up for it.
And one thing which I'll add too before I get handed over to Ken's is so Garrett Schrader, he threw his completion percentage was 52.5%, which for quarterbacks that's really low. That's really low. Usually you want to see around the 60s, so 52.5 that's really low. And then he threw 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but he ran for 14 touchdowns. So he literally ran for 5 more touchdowns than he threw.
He's a decent runner.
So I mean, again, that to itself proves the point that yes, that stop the run, and then it'll take care of itself. Ken's, go ahead.
I agree to stop the run. I think that's going to be our biggest thing that'll tell us how the game's going to go. But I also think that our offensive line is going to have to step up in this game too. Like Michael said, they have a really good defense. But I also think that since you're probably not going to throw as much when you think about that quarterback, and our defensive backs are like, they're not – obviously they're talented, but they're not as big, like talented as our D-line and linebackers to a lot of people. So I think that that's going to give them a breakout game, and I just think it's going to be a win.
And because one other thing too is so typically over the last couple of years their leading receiver has been Taj Harris. Am I correct on that? And that typically they're the top. So, and he transferred.
Yeah, he's like the slot guy, like a slot guy.
And he transferred. Correct. He's not at Syracuse anymore. Am I correct on that? I'm pretty sure about that.
Correct.
So
where.
Well, because I remember we were actually going after him. Actually, where we were talking to him. I'm sorry, not going after him, but we were talking to him.
Oh yeah. You're right.
So that obviously is a interesting piece there as well. So Yeah, so I think we all think, for sure that, and especially because we were so good last year as a rush defense, that again, you're not going to beat us by running the ball. You're going to have to beat us defensively by passing the ball, and this is not the team to do that. So yeah, Syracuse W. Moving on. All right, so now finishing up with Virginia Tech, the Thursday night game.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh
wait a
shoot,
minute,
sorry,
wait a minute.
man. Again, the circle. Missed the
No, it's all
circle.
good. Here, no,
Missed the circle. I apologize, man.
Whoa. I see
No,
how it
sorry,
works.
Macon. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I think it's a win.
That's all I want to say.
I think it's a win. I think it's a win. My thing is, I think it's a win. I think you're gonna have to be very considerate to their defense. I think this will be a low key tough game for Leary. I don't want to say you throw the ball on him. I actually kind of think this might be a good game to feature the run a little bit against him. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, and it'd been funny if Macon was like, stop the pass, and we're like, whoa, what? All right, so now Virginia Tech, that we can move on to again Thursday night. It's going to be a crazy environment, night game, ESPN again. But I think obviously one thing to keep in mind is obviously Virginia Tech. They're also going to be having a new coach. That'll be 3 teams this year, right, Greg? With new coaches. That's crazy.
That's correct.
So Virginia Tech, we are 8-5-1 against them at home, but the last 10 matchups we're 2-7-1. So we haven't done too well against them over the last 10 matchups. So with that being said, though, so I think God, I totally missed where we are. Who went first last time?
Got lost.
All right, Macon. You know what? Forget it, Macon. You go ahead. Since Virginia Tech is your old town, you go first.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I used to live in Blacksburg for a few really good years. I'm not trying to sound like a homer, but I think this is a situation where I think we get this win. I think Virginia Tech have obviously new coach halfway through the season. I think both teams will be experiencing some level of injuries. My only thing is Virginia Tech doesn't really have anything to lose at this point either. I still to this day do not know how they let go of Hendon Hooker to go to Tennessee, but I think State's going to get this win. I think it's going to be a fun game. I just don't see us losing this game. But nothing else I can peg to like this is the reason why. They have a really good linebacker, Dax Holyfield.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who their quarterback is this year. Do you guys know? Top of your head?
There's a transfer from Marshall and a transfer from South Carolina. I think the transfer from
think it's the Marshall guy. Yeah, you're right.
Grant Wells. I think that's his name.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
I think he's.
I don't know. I just think this is going to be a rebuilding year for Virginia Tech, and I just think it's a win.
Love it. All right, Greg, go ahead.
Trying to pull up the quarterback name, and of course, the Roanoke Times told me I need to subscribe to them.
Braxton Burmeister was the quarterback last year. He was a redshirt junior. So,
yeah. And we all loved him because he beat Carolina. So, but yes, Grant Wells, and then looks like Mike Niziolic.
I don't know. I think Grant Wells is going to be the starter.
Yeah.
They were talking about him at
I'm excited.
Media Day. Sorry, they were talking about the Marshall guy at AC Media Day. So,
yeah, I'm excited because it's a crossover game that we don't get to see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I know we did see it the COVID year. That was kind of the exception to the rule. This will be actually next year we go back to Virginia Tech, so it'll be kind of fun. 2 years in a row we'll get Tech. But anyway, back to this game. I love me some Thursday night football. I have to take 2 days of vacation, and it's always well worth it. Carter Finley is always rocking on Thursday. I just want to go out and get a W. This is definitely a rebuild year. This is a Tech team that I see probably 5-7, 6-6. So this should be a game that we win.
Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we'll win. I do think Brent Pry will end up being a pretty good fit there at Virginia Tech. But they just they lost a lot, especially on offense, transfers out on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think they have the talent this year to really be real competitive in the ACC. So yes, I think this will be a win.
I agree. Ken's?
I think it's going to be a win. I don't think we're going to lose. I don't think we're going to lose a single game at home. That's just my opinion.
Let's just start
Yeah,
skipping
just skip
over her.
over
I'm
me.
kidding.
Yeah, we'll just skip her.
But
She just needs to hold a piece of paper that says
Hey,
W.
Leighton, on her, whenever, don't even show her video, just on her spot, just put a
Right.
W. There, you
that's
just
how
know.
it will be.
Yeah.
Hey, I like
But
it.
I don't think we're going to lose a home game this year. I don't think. I mean, Carter Finley on a Thursday night. You're definitely not going to lose a home game on a Thursday night in Carter Finley. Like it's incredible. The atmosphere is insane.
Yeah.
So I definitely think we come out with the win.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a tough game because we're not used to playing them, so we're not really like used to seeing them a lot. But I do think we win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add this one little tidbit to her here. And like for a positive Virginia Tech, they do have a bye week before they play us. So keep that in mind too. But if you look at the games leading up to it, I mean, I know people look at Carolina this year, but I think Carolina is still going to have a pretty good team this year. They play Carolina, and then they play Pitt, then they play Miami. So they play the three better teams in the Coastal right before they play us, and so maybe they'll have a week to rest, game plan. So maybe it's an advantage for them, but it's just another little tidbit to add there.
When's our bye week?
It's right in the middle.
It's after this one. It's either right before this one or right after this one.
It's always
okay.
The state fair week is usually bye week.
It's always in October.
Because of the fair
week before this one.
Yeah.
Ours is betwing the Syracuse and Virginia Tech right before, so we have a bye week as well.
Yeah. And then I mean, all I'll really add to is I think that again, and obviously with all these predictions, it all can completely change depending on what happens throughout the season. You know, obviously injuries will 100% change these predictions through and through. And if you don't believe me, talk to any Wake Forest fan right now. So, so again, who knows? But yeah, again, I think that again, if knock on wood, we can stay, pretty healthy up to this point. I don't see any reason why Virginia Tech should give us much of a fuss, and especially too because last year they were much more run heavy than they were pass heavy. And once again, you're not going to beat our defense by running the ball. It's just not going to happen. So no matter how many injuries there are, and again, if you don't believe me, talk to last year's defense. So I paid Wilson, Isaiah Moore, and CJ Clark. That we still did really well on the run defense. So. All right. So with that being said, again, we finally got through this part 2 here. Make sure, again, if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we release any new NC State content. And also to make sure, again, to tune in for part 3 as we break through the final 4 games here. And we finally come up with what are our predictions for the season. That should be electric, to say the least, and probably, hopefully, maybe one of the best seasons in NC State football history. I don't think that's off the table by any means, for sure. So looking forward to it either way, but also to make sure, again, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram, and also to check out our channel memberships for as little as $1.99, a ton of perks there. And also to, if you're an NC State fan just like us, hit that like button so that way we know that you're an NC State fan just like us, baby. So with that being said, as always, go Pack, y'all. We'll see you off part 3.